In his latest bout of sociopathic grandstanding, the governor of the apocalyptic state of California, Gavin Newsom, has recently taken umbrage against President Trump's push to redistrict certain places like Texas and Indiana to help his odds of winning the midterms when it comes to Congress in 26. Now, he has a lot of clips, and I'm going to review them because I think a lot of us have yet to learn how much of a sociopath this guy is. Now, this guy uses taxpayer funds to hold this press conference of sorts, where it really does look like a political campaign. But just look at his physiognomy, look at his body, look at the gestures. Now, this guy has to put up with an hour of people, DEI candidates for sure, Alex Padilla being one of them. He does not care what they have to say. Look at how he gesticulates and notice how he does not care at all. Watch. It's really creepy.
And we're going to do it together because a wise governor that I know is fond of saying, if you want to go far, go alone.
So again, he's going like that. He's hyping himself up like a 12-year-old boy, which is kind of crazy. And he's gassed up because this other guy is filleting him, the Senator Padilla. And he's kind of stimming also. Stimming meaning like you're bored, so you're kind of like fiddling your thumbs and whatnot. Kind of crazy coming from a 6-year-old guy, but okay.
Excuse me, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And the person who has brought us together
He is so goddamn fake. He goes like, bro, like you're not Tom Cruise circa 1989 or whatever.
and the person who has brought us together for this fight of all fights is our friend, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Okay, now keep in mind, when somebody like Donald Trump does a rally, does a speech, he's hardly practicing for it. He doesn't read already, right? So, like, he's just almost freestyling it. Even if he's reading from a teleprompter, God knows he hasn't read that before, okay? So, Gavin Newsom, on the contrary, is very meticulous, very, not only self-obsessed, but also very, I guess, like I said, meticulous in how he prepares for everything. So scrutinize everything he says because he certainly has planned every word that comes out of his mouth before they come out. So anyway.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you guys for being here.
So like I said, I mean, look at the DEI here. Obviously, a lot of Hispanic women in the front row. If you look at the other rows, it's not so much that diverse. Why is that? Well, because the Democrats typically put in minorities and other people that they want to like virtue signal about in the front where the camera takes them. Trump rallies also do this, to be honest, but still. Now, getting into the actual speech itself, this is absurd. And honestly, this whole Antichrist thing makes me kind of look like a brown Alex Jones. But the more you listen to this guy speak, you see exactly what the hell I'm saying, okay? So just watch.
And prosper together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. What makes LA great, what makes California great, and what makes the United States of America great is that at our best, we don't tolerate our diversity, we celebrate our diversity. And it's a point of pride because we're all in this together.
So think about that. What makes America great is what makes his state characteristic of being that state. Okay, so again, diverse. And when we're talking about diversity in this case, it's not a strength. When we're talking about Alex Padilla, who somehow has a god dang accent despite being a U.S. senator, okay? Clearly an idiot, could not make it being an engineer anywhere. Just to name something that actually requires skill. And then you look at the women behind him. Have they accomplished anything, or are they people that are in non-profits, not really doing much? So it's pretty much a blatant lie from Gavin Newsom.
Where are we? At Democracy Center. And right outside, at this exact moment, are dozens and dozens of ICE agents. Donald Trump, you think it's
What the fuck was that? Donald Trump? What the?
coincidental? Donald Trump and his minions, Tom Homan, tough guy, clearly decided, coincidentally or not, that this was a location to advance ICE arrests. Indiscriminate? Perhaps. We'll find out later. It was certainly indiscriminate when a 15-year-old disabled boy had a gun put to his head in Los Angeles trying to go to school just a few days ago.
Now, this is interesting because, again, a lot of me making this content is to kind of preempt 2028 because I kind of see what the plan is here. And obviously, when Donald Trump brings up angel moms and niche cases where, like, just to play it fair, even as a conservative, like, yeah, out of millions of illegal aliens, yeah, a very small amount of them will commit crimes like the ones against Laken Riley or Kate Steinle. And then when Trump brings these angel moms up and whatnot, these are kind of like niche examples and anecdotal, really. But Gavin Newsom's playing the opposite end, where it's like, well, oh, ICE deported this kid and he happened to be disabled. This one out of like 10,000 deportations. Wow. So just keep that in mind years down the line because this will be a common thread.
I met with it. I don't need to belabor this, except I want to level set. People are scared. People are fearful. You had a United States senator that was thrown down to the ground in a federal building.
That was hilarious.
Alex Padilla.
Suffer.
J.D. Vance's name is Alex Padilla, not Jose Padilla.
Again, the insinuation being that JD Vance was being racist. Now, I don't think that was the case by JD. It's just that Alex Padilla is a senator in name only. You can name, well, nobody can name 100 senators, right? But like obviously, you can name so many more accomplished people in the Senate than Alex Padilla. What the hell has he done? Joe Biden, for what he's worth, at least signed several bills, and by signed I mean like co-authored or whatever. Like he's actually made legislation years ago. Alex Padilla hasn't done squat. Less accomplished in the Senate, dare I say this, than Kamala Harris, who herself is a dimwit, dotard. Okay, so like come the hell on. To insinuate that JD Vance is racist, meanwhile he's married to a chick that's darker than me. I've met her. She's Indian as hell. It's like, come on, that's stupid.
That's the Vice President of the United States. It's another museum, not so far away from us, talks about those 53 days. Some of you know what I'm referring to.
What?
Wake up, America. This is a serious moment. Wake up to what's going on. Wake up to the fear, the anxiety. Wake up to what's happening, not just here in Los Angeles, where we saw our streets militarized. We saw our due process rights thrown out the window. You heard the word disappeared. I was with a 12-year-old boy born in Oxnard, California, whose mother and father were disappeared. 20 years going to the same packing facility every single day. He didn't even know how to get back into his own home, into his own house. Had no brothers and sisters. He has now disappeared in an attempt to find his parents. That's Trump's America. That's the moment we're living in. So these are sober times. And so I'm deeply...
Again, if you're like zoning out, if you're drunk, if you're like dumb, then what he's saying is very compelling. And of course, the story of a 12-year-old going to find his deported parents is kind of like heartbreaking when you think about it. However, when you really, really scrutinize what he's saying, bottom line is that if white Americans from Minnesota, let's say, basically commit a felony or whatever, they commit a crime, they're not going to have custody of those children. So like if you come in here illegally and you have an anchor baby, which is scummy to do in the first place, right? But anyway, if you have that anchor baby, well, all of a sudden, yeah, you might find yourself not in custody of your child. Is that 12-year-old objectively really stupid to go look for his parents, knowing damn well they're illegals and they probably got deported? Yes. He got disappeared. No, he did not get disappeared. As far as I know, I don't know about this case, but come on. Okay, so it's interesting, the interplay here, where on one hand, again, rhetorically fantastic. I guess the trope here is of a used car salesman trying to sell you a car of whom's engine does not even function, but goddamn, that's crazy. Okay, now he's on to another tangent.
All across this country, not just in Texas, but in Missouri, where J.D. Vance went just a week ago, in Indiana, in places like Ohio, in places like Florida. We need to stand up, not just California. Other blue states need to stand up. We need.
So you see the presidential angle here where he's calling out other blue states as basically he's implying that like y'all aren't doing as much as I am. I'm the leader. Listen to me. Rise up to action against Donald Trump, again, the pariah for the left. And so he's trying to play the foil to Trump, even though it's kind of crazy and awkward in a way because, of course, Donald Trump probably will not run in 28. I mean, probably cannot even legally do it. So anyway, the point is also that like he's attacking JD Vance. a lot more than most other Democrats do, because obviously, if you're a Democrat now, you're attacking the president and not the vice president, because who cares? But inevitably, what you will find is that he is again so in the pathway, or really of the mindset to run for president himself against presumably JD Vance, that he will attack him every chance he gets, even though JD does not have much of a say as to what happens nowadays. So it's kind of, again, kind of surreal, because it seems as if like I could place a bet for $1,000 right now and make like 10 grand that these two, again, JD and Gavin Newsom, will fight each other in like 3 or 4 years. So I mean, it's kind of cool.
We need to be firm in our resolve. We need to put back. So we're here in that light, and I'm grateful to have remarkable partners in the legislature. It's a tall task. We're asking them for 2/3 of a legislative consent, but this is the difference. This is the difference between what's happening in Texas and what's happening here in California. We didn't receive a phone call from the President of the United States to then quietly go in the back room and start drawing maps and legislatively try to jam them through against the consent of the people.
Okay, so again, look at the hand gestures. Again, jam through as if it's forceful, as if there's no consent. But obviously, the people of Texas voted for a majority of the people in the chambers of the Texas legislature or whatever to do what they want, right? So, like, they're not jamming anything through, is the bottom line. Of course, no matter what sociopath Pete Buttigieg wannabes like James Tallarico want to tell you, of course, the people of Texas vote for conservatives, and then the conservatives do something to further their own cause, and then now Gavin's implying that it's non-consensual. It's kind of like a Me Too of politics, kind of stupid.
We're doing precisely the opposite. We're working through a very transparent, temporary, and public process. We're putting the maps on the...
Okay, now temporary, why? Because you're a great guy, because you're principled, because this is just a response to Donald Trump? Or is it because you know that you're running for president in like a couple years, so you don't really even care about the California map when you're the president in like 2029, okay? So see how he can play something and then it not mean what he actually says?
ballot, and we're giving the power to the people. This will be the first redistricting that's ever done that. That's the difference. We tried to raise the standards, and these guys are not playing by any set of rules. So this time requires us to act anew, not just think anew. And so I'm grateful to all of the remarkable leaders that have stepped up this unifying effort here in the state of California. And we'll be asking for the people on November 4th, a special election, coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections, to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps, to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite. And we'll do so in a way that also affirms our desire as a state to level the playing field all across the United States. We believe in a national independent redistricting framework. And we believe that's the right goal and the right thing to pursue. And I will just state for the fact, Zoe Lofgren, who runs our California delegation, she authored the bill. Democrats unanimously supported that National Independent Redistricting Commission. Republicans were nowhere to be found.
Okay, as a clarification, as far as I know, when you have these independent boards, okay, it's kind of a misnomer, so to speak, because if you're having an independent board, but all the stuff in the periphery is Democrat, then it's going to be influenced to be more Democrat, right? So like in Arizona, technically all the judges are independent, but they were all appointed by Republican governors, as far as I remember. So like at that point, is it really independent? So when they say California nonpartisan, like that's BS, obviously. And he's playing to people's sensibilities of them not really knowing all the particulars as to what's going on in California as of the last 15 years.
Want to rig these elections, and they want the power that gerrymandering provides, because they know what Donald Trump knows. He's going to lose the midterms. He knows de facto his presidency ends in 17 months, when Speaker Jeffries is back in office.
Speaker Jeffries, who's a complete loser. You watch these Democrats and you're like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Like they're not even talented. Like I understand like you might lie, you might have to even just for convenience sake. There's a Machiavellian aspect to it, but like a lot of these Democrats just plain suck. Like they couldn't even be the manager at a Dairy Queen. Okay, so Hakeem Jeffries sucks. He's like very Cory Booker adjacent. Gavin Newsom, I'll give him his due. He's a good-looking guy, central casting for president, is a really good liar. What do you call it, snake tongued or whatever? Like he is good at that. But these other guys, Hakeem Jeffries, ugly name by the way. My God.
He knows it. Why else? Why else would you try to rig the system? Why else would you make the phone call? He's a failed president. Who else sends ICE same time having a conversation like this? Someone who's weak. Someone who's broken. Someone whose weakness is masquerading as strength. The most unpopular president in modern history. An economy that's collapsing all around him.
Are you fucking what? Are you unemployed, Gavin? Do you need some money there, boy? Do you need some Cash App donations? My God.
You saw the new wholesale prices going up almost a full percentage point today. Inflation is going up. Job creation is going down. He's trying to rewrite history, Smithsonian, censoring historical facts. And in the spirit of what Adam Schiff said, he's trying to put America in reverse on voting rights, civil rights, LGBTQ rights, on women's rights. He wants to bring us back to pre-19.
Dude, if JD Vance beats Gavin Newsom, it might very well just be on the LGBTQ thing. Like, dude, like at best, normal people do not care. Worst case for you, Gavin, which is actually the reality, is that, my God, isn't that gross? Transitioning children and all that, it's deplorable to say the least.
1960s world. That's what this is all about.
1860s?
It's about power, and I want to end on this.
Idiots. My
And
God.
we are about to give power back to the people. You have, on November 4th in California, you have the power to stand up to Trump. You have the power to declare that you support a system that is not rigged. You have the power on November 4th to stand up for people that are being bullied. You have the power to stand up for people that are being intimidated. You have the power to stand up to the rule of law. We're giving the people of
the power to stand up to the rule of law? That's not logical. That's the antithesis of what the hell you were arguing, you absolute idiot. My God. Rare Gavin Newsom flub up, but my gosh. Okay, now Gavin Newsom, for whatever reason, takes questions, right? Even after the fact that anybody could notice that he does not have the truth on his side, he will still take questions, which I give him credit for, okay? But there are some harsh truths that he has to deal with in real time. Now watch.
I mean, what is the Democrats' endgame here? Because Republicans do have more options for redistricting in states like Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, and there are a lot bigger legal hurdles for Democrats in states like New York, New Jersey. What is the endgame? Do you feel like you win this?
We got to win. Democracy's counting on us. The Founding Fathers not live and die to see this moment.
Okay, so you could see that he's scrambling in his brain because what she actually said is a relevant point, that actually if everybody were to rig the system for their respective states, the Republicans would actually benefit. Kind of like the Electoral College at the end of the day actually helps Republicans for the same reason. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. And so when he's a Democrat saying we're going to retort the Texas redistricting by doing our own in California, he is, again, trying to boister his own odds to be president in 28 by leading the charge against Trump. Meanwhile, actually screwing everybody over. If this were to actually escalate, it would be roughly pretty bad for the Democrats. But he squares it as, obviously, he cares more about himself, which you can understand, right? Because he's like the Antichrist. But meanwhile, he has to contend with these people that are talking to him. And I wonder what his cope will be. Let's see.
And so there's just too much at stake. And we can roll over and say, boy, maybe if we don't, they won't continue this process well beyond Texas. For a fact they will. They'll run up the score regardless. At least California could push back and neutralize Texas. And once a mind is stretched, it never goes back to its original form, the power of emulation. Success leaves clues. If we're successful in November, I imagine other states may consider their own paths. Some could happen as late as January. Some could happen earlier. Many states have not dissimilar independent redistricting commissions. They could take a look at exactly how we process this and how we approached it. Other states are differently situated. But look, end of the day, we're just they count on us to continue to say one thing and do another. That's what's different about this. We're not just asserting ourselves.
Okay, notice he slows down his cadence. He doesn't really have much to say, hence why he's talking slower. But in talking slower, he's betting that he'll have more emotional delivery, a stronger gravitas, so to speak, if he were to, again, slow it down. So he's definitely floundering here. But idiots like Brian Tyler Cohen or whatever the hell his name is, and people that are to the center of the Young Turks at this point will just lap this up like a bunch of idiots.
We're going to prove ourselves this November.
Governor, is it misleading for counties in California to say that the state can't afford this? The registrar in Riverside County said it's going to cost $16 million. The special election. What's your response?
Well, the state of California is going to fund that. And that's what the bill's all about. So, yes, it's deeply disingenuous. And no price tag for democracy. And this individual should know, as he's a what?
The registrar of voters.
He should know the rules. Imagine that's a job description as well, that the state will be funding it.
Governor, there was
have you spoken with Governor Schwarzenegger about your proposal?
I had a chance to dialogue with the governor. As you know, as someone that opposed very publicly attempts to roll back independent redistricting, that voted for them in the first place, I share his vision, and I've made that clear publicly, and I've made that clear to him privately, and that's why it was important to talk to him specifically about the fact that we're affirming our independent commission, and we're calling for a national independent commission as well.
Okay, but notice in his answer, he didn't convey whether or not Arnold Schwarzenegger disagreed with him. Again, Arnold, who was the governor to people before him, I guess, like in the mid-2000s.
Well, I think it's pretty sick and pathetic. And it just said everything you need to know, the setting that we're under. That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference. Said everything you know about Donald Trump's America. And that was top down. You know that for a fact. And they'll deny it, I'm sure. Maybe they won't deny it. Said everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States. I said in a moment ago, wake up, America, wake up. You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a third term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received.
He wishes that Trump would run for a third term. Like he literally, like I don't want to impugn his. I don't care. Look, the point is that like he probably dreams about fighting Donald Trump, and I agree. If you were to say Arizona Cardinals Super Bowl or Gavin Newsom versus Donald Trump debate for 3 hours, like my God, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna pick. That's crazy though.
In the mail, a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around.
Let's
the
go.
rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history.
Dude, you're married into the Getty Images family. You're in cahoots with Nancy Pelosi. You're sweeping it up for Kamala Harris. You swept it up for for Joe Biden after his debate, where he might as well have had an adult diaper for all intents and purposes.
He doesn't believe in free enterprise, crony capitalism.
Are you fucking dude? Oh my God, you're a Democrat governor, a liberal of California, talking about Trump is not free enterprise. That's like if I went to Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime and said, "You're not pro bodybuilding." I am. Why? What the fuck? What?
He is wrecking this country, wrecking the economy. He's a lawless president. Wake up.
Lawless, dude. Trump had to militarize LA because you didn't. Oh my God, because you didn't enforce the law in Karen Bass's LA and SoCal in general. I mean, we're talking about you defending illegal aliens, talking about how Trump is a lawless person. It's insane.
America, wake up to what's going on.
For the members of Congress here, we know that Congressman Kiley has suggested that this is a bad idea for everybody. Obviously, he could end up losing his job, so he's interested in this. But are there other Republican members that are maybe saying, this is...
Notice all these little mouth movements. Like, if you're going to be a sociopath, be better at hiding it, right? There's better examples out there, but like, my God, like you're like jittering here. It's rough.
not a good idea, that they're uncomfortable with this.
Why does he look away?
What are you hearing behind the scenes from your colleagues?
So A,
Why does he bow down to this person? Who the what?
Kevin Kiley miraculously came up with this piece of legislation because he...
Your voice is grating. We're not dealing with it. All right, now Gavin comes in for like a split second at the end. Let's see.
Can you react to what's going on with those posts on X that are clearly trolling the president? Can you just talk about that? Is that like a strategy?
I don't know. I hope it's a wake-up call to the President of the United States. I'm sort of following his example. If you've got issues with what I'm putting out, you sure as hell should have concerns about what he's putting out as president. So to the extent it's gotten some attention, I'm pleased. But I think the deeper question is, how have we allowed the normalization of his tweets through social posts over the course of the last many years to go without similar scrutiny and notice.
Thank you, everyone. We are
So the bottom line is that he has a Twitter account that posts a lot of coal, a lot of cringe. They've got probably like some gay, like 25-year-old running his Twitter. I mean, that was his defense of it. I mean, this really just shows that he is, on one hand, a great used car salesman, but like when you go past the veneer of that sort of like genuine talent, there is pretty much nothing there that is anything positive. So, anyways, like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want more content like this. Comment down below what your thoughts are. Do you think Gavin Newsom will go against JD Vance in 2028? Am I wrong about that? Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.